everyone, I found another story I wanted to share with you. Poll: more Americans favor protecting gun rights than introducing new gun laws. Amen to that. The establishment agenda is more gun control. That's what gets pushed into the mainstream media. That's what the TV is telling you every time the news attempts to sensationalize gun violence as if it were the #1 way people are dying in the country. It's not even the top 10, all things considered. But all of this anti-Second Amendment propaganda just isn't quite enough to get people to buy it and start begging for more police state, more big government, bureaucracy, and more gun legislation. A new ABC News WAPO poll found that while 46% of our respondents said new gun laws should be a bigger priority, 47% said protecting the rights and to keep and bear arms is more important. Sure, it may be just 1 percentage point, but these are left-leaning media organizations who can't even manage to squeeze the sensationalism from their own polls, enough to make up more pro-gun control headlines. This marks a shift away from gun laws since April 2013, when Democrats' push for increased background checks fell short in the aftermath of the massacre at an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut. Back then, a 52% majority said new laws should be a priority. The number of people who prioritize gun rights is growing. Republicans and Americans in rural areas account for a shift toward giving gun rights higher priority since 2013. The number of rural Americans who prioritize gun rights over new laws has grown from 46 to 61. And the share of Republicans has jumped from 58 to 71%. And most people realize mental health issues, antidepressants anyone, are behind a lot of gun violence we're seeing these days, not gun ownership or a person's willingness to obey more gun laws. Maybe it all just comes down to what people fear more: random mass gun violence, or not being able to protect oneself against violence, period. Or maybe it's fear of a government that turns against its own people, which is a real reason for founding fathers included the Second Amendment in the Bill of Rights in the first place. You know, even according to my elders, it all comes down to they've been trying to take, since around the 70s, 80s, when they brought out all the antidepressants, and they're trying to get everybody hooked on the antidepressants, or say that they have something wrong with them. The ADHD, they're depressed, they're unstable, bipolar, manic depressive, etc., etc. And the more that they push these onto people and the parents of young children, and they feel they have no say in it, then later on they can't get any guns. And I think that was their plan to begin with. Back to this article that is from April 2nd, 2013. Every mass shooting over the last 20 years has one thing in common, and it's not guns. The following is a republishing of an important article written by Dan Roberts from AmmoLand.com. It reveals the real truth about mass shootings and the bureaucrats and lawmakers are choosing to sweep under the rug. Psychiatric drugs. If you want to know the real reason why mass shootings are taking place, this is the inconvenient truth the media won't cover. Part of a collective grassroots effort to defend the Bill of Rights against usurpers and tyrants, Natural News is republishing this article without asking permission first when it comes to fighting tyrants and defending liberty. The unstated agreement across the entire liberty-loving grassroots community is, use our articles, help spread the word. Every article I write on here on Natural News, for example, may be reprinted with credit and a link back to the original source article on naturalnews.com. This is a pretty long article. I believe the link's in the box. AmmoLand.com, nearly every mass shooting incident in the last 20 years and multiple other instances of suicide and isolated shootings all share one thing in common, and it's not weapons used. The overwhelming evidence points to the single largest common factor in all these incidents in the fact that all of the perpetrators were either actively taking powerful psychotropic drugs or had at some point in the immediate past before they committed their crimes. I'm going to go ahead and skip way ahead here. And it talks about Eric Harris, age 17, first on Zoloft, then Luvox. Jeff Weiss on Prozac, 60 milligrams a day. That's actually the highest dosage you can take. They usually start you off at 10. This was on Paxil, gave him hallucinations, Prozac, Zoloft, Prozac. And one of the things about being on antidepressants, and yeah, I know this for a fact, the first 2 weeks you're trying to get used to them, you will have your ups and downs, your mood swings, and you'll feel like you're going absolutely crazy. It's twice as bad as how you felt before you took them. But once it gets in there and it starts leveling out, it levels you out. But you have to be really closely monitored the first couple of weeks, sometimes a couple of months, when you're first taking them, because it really, really messes you up. This one is Ritalin. Boy, 3 in a row. This one was on Various. Paxil, Effexor, Celexa, Paxil, Prozac and Ritalin, Zoloft. And see, I think one of the least to worry about is actually Prozac. They must have started them off at higher doses. You have to gradually work into them. Xanax, Ambien, Trazodone. So that's a sleeping pill. Peter Lanza. Yeah, there's a reason I said that. I don't believe that story whatsoever. There's quite a few I don't believe. But, hey, that's just me. Some of them don't even say. I don't know why. What drugs? It's asking the questions. Anyway, it's quite a long article. It gives you a lot to think about and read. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the link in the description box. And thanks for watching.